Well, here's some news you can use. Have you ever heard of the term sologamy?
Yeah, it's a growing relationship trend in which people marry themselves. Here's more now from reporter Weisha Zhang.
In many ways, Erica Anderson was a traditional bride. The 37-year-old from Brooklyn planned a formal ceremony with a white dress, flower bouquet, and walked down the aisle. Only no one was waiting for her, and that was just the way she wanted it.
How would you describe self-marriage?
I would describe it as women saying yes to themselves.
And what does that mean?
It means that we are enough even if we're not partnered with someone else.
Anderson says she grew tired of people asking why she was still single. So, in front of her friends and family, she married herself.
Marriage is hard, even when you don't have a partner. What? Confused much? Same here. But that goes for a lot of things I hear these days. Check out this graphic. A woman who allegedly married herself has instigated divorce proceedings after spending just one day in her own company. Sophie Marr first announced the move back in February alongside photos of herself in a long white veil and gold tiara. The 25-year-old, who has over 500,000 followers on Twitter and Instagram, revealed she had bought a wedding dress and baked a cake to celebrate the big day. This is her beautiful wedding photo with her lovely bride, her phone. And despite the support from some followers, it seems the loved-up solo bride was soon left questioning her commitment, as just one day later, on 20 February, she declared that divorce was imminent. Update: one day I'm married to myself and I can't take it anymore. I'm seeing how the divorce issue is, just in case.
Who keeps the house?
I mean,
Who gets the stuff?
She's got to sleep on the couch when she comes home drunk.
No, this is so like not just America, the world in the year 2023, right? Like, obviously she's doing it to get attention,
yeah,
right? But for that brief day, for that 24-hour period, not only did it work, but tons of people wrote in support of like, oh, atta girl, you know, that's people are like, oh, that's thinking. That's thinking. I'm like, is it? Is it thinking? I mean, what's the conversation we're having here, right? Like, what do you mean? Like, no one writes like, what do you mean? They were all like, oh, congrats. What are you getting the bride?
Everybody should have just written LOL. LOL is the only acceptable response to that. Who'd have thought we'd have somebody who made the woman who married the dolphin years ago seem sane?
It is a very happy thing. It was me standing up for myself and owning that I'm responsible for my happiness. There would have been a time I would have placed that on others to change myself to make them happy, or expecting them to change to make me happy. And I realized that really wasn't working. Not at all. I was very unhappy, and I started discovering that love I need, it's in here. No one else can give it to me.
Meg Taylor Morrison found an unusual way of moving on when she decided to have her own big day and marry herself.
Well, Meg joins us now to tell us more. And good morning to you, Meg. Thank you for joining us this morning. So we just said there in the interview, this intro, this started with heartbreak, didn't it?
Yeah, it absolutely did. My partner and I of 3.5 years decided to end our relationship this past summer, and it was a mutual decision, but mutual decisions don't always make it any easier.
Yeah. No, of course. And had you talked about marriage?
We really had. And like so many couples during the coronavirus pandemic, we had a lot of conversations about what was next for us. And in the end, we just decided it wasn't quite the right fit.
So where did you go from there then? So you're sort of recovering from a broken heart, essentially, and then you start thinking about getting remarried, and this time to yourself.
Yeah, well, I'd heard of self-marriages before, and I'd always had this dream of getting married on Halloween 2020. And I thought, why not just marry myself? It could be really fun. And I had my Pinterest board like so many young women do, and just decided to make it a reality and to really turn it into a commitment to self-love and taking care of myself and putting myself first, because I think that any good relationship, whether it's with ourselves or with other people, begins with really having more appreciation for ourselves.
Since sologamy is self-marriage, marriage to oneself. My life is not going to change after this marriage. And that is what I always wanted, to become a bride, but not a wife. and I'm going to live my dream today.
My name is Danny, and I married myself on December the 10th, 2022.
Will you commit to never giving up until your dying day? Do you promise to give yourself grace? Do you commit to praying and finding the answers within yourself? Do you promise to value yourself?
Yes, I do. I overcame a lot of trauma, and it inspired me to marry myself. I realized I wasn't living for myself, and this wedding was my chance to start over. I spent $4,000 on my wedding. I had 9 bridesmaids.
I'm not the only one getting married today. You are too. So there is a bag in your chair with a ring in it.
We are gathered here today to witness something we can all agree is revolutionary.
My name is Sonia, and I married myself for my 50th birthday on August 13th. I wanted to marry myself because I had the business, I had the home, I had the car. The only thing I didn't have was the marriage.
And now there's Sologamy, the growing trend of marrying yourself. Our next guest tied the knot to herself on Valentine's Day this year and has since gone on to act as a celebrant for more women walking down the aisle alone. Please welcome Emma Jane Love to Studio 10. Hi. So Emma Jane, you married yourself on Valentine's Day this year. How did that all come about?
Well, it was actually towards the end of last year. I'd been on this journey about 5 years of deep healing myself, because growing up, I'd always had this idea of the fairy tale of meeting the one, of meeting my soulmate. And then what I found was that I was ending up in these relationships where I was giving my power away, where I was really not honouring myself and putting them first. And I ended up was in 3 abusive relationships.
Wow.
So I really made this commitment to put me first and get rid of the concept of I have to be married and then I'll be complete and then I'll be whole. So really that's how that happened. So, and then, yeah, I came up with the concept, got engaged at the end of the year.
To yourself?
Last year, to myself.
Bought yourself the ring?
Bought myself a ring, yeah.
Let's have a look at the ring. So this, you've been married for how long? Since February?
Since February, yes.
And this is your beautiful ring that you gave yourself?
Yes.
Like, so when you say you got engaged, did you ask yourself to, like, did you think in your head, I'm going to ask myself to marry me?
No, I just made a decision, yeah.
Right. My name is Georgina Wambui. I'm 33 years old. In 2018, I decided to engage myself on 1st June. It's usually 1st June is my birthday, and I decided to celebrate it in a different way.
Yes.
So I got myself a ring and I celebrated with friends. During that time, I told them that next year, that is in 2019, I'll get married to myself. Very few really believed that it's gonna happen. So in 1st June, this month of 2019, I got myself a ring. I went and shopped for a gown, a very nice gown.
Yeah.
I did a cake that I wrote it G words G.
Okay.
I had also my flower girls. My maids were there, my friends were there, and I celebrated in a very beautiful way. I chose to do that according to the inner feeling, the voice I had in me. Not that I don't believe in love. I do believe in love. I do believe in marriage. But I chose, I will go with what I want, not what the society wants.
Hi, my name's Sophie Tanner, and 2 years ago I got married to myself. Because I think in our culture, you know, there's so much emphasis on finding the one, and being single is a valid lifestyle option these days. Not everyone should just behave according to these milestones that are just kind of really quite outdated. The wedding was spectacular. I had about 15 bridesmaids all dressed up in different colours, and we all processed through the Pavilion Gardens dancing to Kendrick Lamar's I Love Myself. My dad gave me away, and my friend dressed up as the Pope. He took me through my vows, which I'd adapted from Christian vows for the singular. My proposal happened when I was in bed, recovering from a really bad breakup. I've had instances in my life where, you know, I've poured everything into someone else and allowed who they were to affect my moods and my happiness. But I was lying in bed and suddenly the sun was coming through the window, and I realised that I had myself back and that I felt happy again. And I wondered if it was possible to celebrate this moment. I suppose I didn't say, Sophie, will you marry me? But that was my proposal to myself. I thought, I want to marry myself.
Nadine, you're not the only one who's actually done this. Desiree here. Desiree, will you stand up?
Yes.
So
Hey, Desiree.
you've actually also married yourself?
I have.
In like an actual ceremony?
It wasn't a big ceremony. It was a small get-together with my closest girlfriends.
So what was the thinking?
I was engaged to be married. It did not pan out. And so I decided, as the date that we had chosen was nearing, that I didn't want to, you know, sit home and wallow in grief or self-pity or just play everything over in my head. I really wanted to reclaim the day and do something positive.
Okay, I kind of get that.
Okay.
Now, how did it make you feel?
I felt loads better, actually. I really felt, it was very life-affirming. It was.
Now, the irony is, after this, what happened?
After this, I actually, well, I don't want to say I met him because I've actually known him for a long time, but reconnected with someone, and we are having a torrid love affair.
В личной жизни.
My friends and relatives were not that surprised because I do things differently. They were really supportive. A few people thought, oh, it's probably just an idea she's had, it's not going to happen. But I made it happen. I think that was really good.
Грейс – девушка традиционной церемонии.
Absolutely, yeah. I got the last minute nerves like people do when they're getting married to somebody else. The hardest bit for me was buying the ring because I'm going to have to look at that every day and remind myself what I agreed to do with myself.
Nobody can save you. Fears will embrace you. Cough about the bed in the house and chase.